So, in the next couple of minutes, I just want to share with you what's the vision Hewlett Packard has around the banking as an industry. Yeah, I will. And where we see the banking going, we had an earlier panel discussion too on the same. So quickly, I'll probably, in the paucity of time, I'll wrap some of the slides. But then, if you look at the history where we are going, I think when the whole banking as an era started, it was just a self-service era, right? There was Bank 1.0, there was Bessel, people started working on inclusion, core banking, so on and so forth. And then we had the Bank 2.0, and that's when, if you look at the telecom as an industry, it started booming, and manufacturing started moving into centralized ERP systems. And these three are connected in a way how they have influenced each other with respect to the corporate banking, with respect to the retail banking, and of course the bank assets. So one led to another change, and we kind of we are now in the augmented age. From the systems of record, we moved from system of engagement, and from there we are moving into system of action. And current era, what we are going through is a system of action where we are talking about new age, cutting edge technologies like IoT, AI, blockchain, edge computing, so on and so forth. Now, what will happen beyond this age? That's the question we all have. And that the answer lies in what is happening in some of the research laboratories across the world. When internet was present in the laboratory, it didn't explode. But the moment it came into the commercial use, we all know how our lives have transformed. When mobile phones or the handheld devices were used by militaries and armies, the moment it was commercialized, we all know what happened. So there are some tipping points which are happening at this point of time, and I interact very closely with some of the academia. And last weekend I was at IIC, and we were discussing about what's happening. And believe it or not, an institute like IIC has developed a superconductor which works at the room temperature. Right? They're fine-tuning the whole thing, but once it comes into the commercial production, it's going to change everything we are doing. You have to rip apart every single wiring in your building and go ahead with a new kind of wiring. Right? It'll change the way compute happens. It'll change the way data moves. Right? So some of the tipping points, and of course some of the speed bumps are the thing. There's a company in Austria, Google Technologies. They have introduced an EEG typewriter to type your thoughts. This is commercially available now. You can wear a sleeve on your head, a helmet kind of a thing, and start typing on your thoughts. The whole device costs 4,500 euros. If you have to buy, you can buy it online. There are warranty services available. There are resellers available for this. It is in a point where it's going to enter our life, where very soon we're going to type thoughts. Right? There are currently in the laboratories telepathic helmets available. Two persons can wear the telepathic helmets, use artificial intelligence at the back end, tune themselves for 15 minutes, and after the 15th minute, they can communicate the thought to each other. And these are commercially available at this point of time as we speak. These are very expensive. These are cutting edge technologies which are used for people who are disabled at this point of time, who are challenged at this point of time. But it is not very far. These are going to enter the commercial space as we speak about. Right? Typing emails as we sit in the desk looking at the computer, it's just around the corner as we speak. All they have to do is they have to design a much cuter helmet than what the lady is wearing. And every billionaire in this world would go for it. Human microchipping. One of the company in Sweden has microchipped every single employee in their organization. And you can see, I don't know if the picture is clear, you can see the size of the microchip which is there. It's going to carry your identity. It's used for access control at this point of time. It's used for logging into your system at this point of time. It also has two-factor authentication built in. And human microchipping, if you take a country like Sweden, and this company called as Epicenter is based out of Sweden. If you take a country like Sweden, it's fast becoming a fashion. Everybody goes, puts a chip in their hand, and starts moving around. And it can work as a credit card to you. It can work as a debit card. It can work as an identity. Right? Today, if you look at iPhones and some of the other makes of the phone, the Face ID is something which is very prevalent. Right? It will soon come a day where the Face ID will be used for your ATM POS machine transaction. Right? When you walk into the ATM, it'll probably look at your face, ID you, then dispense money, than for you to insert a card and then pick money up. And these are technologies which are around the corner, which is going to change our world in the next couple of years. If we talk about cloud, and we earlier had this conversation about how cloud computing is going to become most relevant. The latest terminology in the scientific research lab, especially in the University of Chicago, is BCI, it's Brain Compute Cloud Interface. How you can use your thoughts in your brain, can get into the cloud and start accessing. And then it also is now, the next decade or so, they're saying that somewhere in the cloud, artificial intelligence will work and push a result into your brain. And you can take your decisions accordingly. And of course, some of the speed bumps are, we are in the third generation of boom and bust cycles of artificial intelligence, right? If you look at the 70s, a robo working in your home was something which was very relevantly talked about. The Japanese companies started bringing out with, small robos which can, but it kind of withered down. The technology died down. Nobody has a robot at their home. All we have is probably a vacuum cleaner or a mixer or a grinder. But that's the first cycle which happened. The second cycle happened somewhere in the late 80s. It again went through a AI winter. Currently, we are looking at a boom cycle of AI. How long it's going to survive, how long it's going to interface with our life, it remains to be seen. There are scientists who have called in for caution already with respect to how AI is going to come. Everything is hackable. If thoughts can be typed, then can it be hacked? So that's the question. So everything in this world is now hackable. There is no two thoughts about it. And the last, but not the last, of course, most laws is Heisenberg law. The chips are becoming smaller and smaller at this point of time. We are talking about 7 nanometer computer chips, which are going to power your data center. The moment it hits 5 or 4 nanometer, Heisenberg is going to come into the play and say that now the electrons cannot be controlled and the electrons can flow out of the chip. So the compute is hitting a roadblock with respect to what we are, what you are used to. So the 5 gigahertz and 6 gigahertz processors are reaching their end. So hence, can there be a different way of compute, or can there be a different consumption of compute in the world? Of course, privacy laws are going to be more and more stringent now. Asian countries are typically on the follower mode when it comes to privacy laws, but Europeans have taken a lead with respect to how they are. This is going to impact how we do. And of course, regulators. The regulators are just around the corner. I would not call them as much as a speed bump, as a as a supervisor for all of us. Otherwise, we would go ahead and lose a lot of money in this world. So, how these technologies would probably come into the banking? Why would thought banking? Why would microchipping? Why would Moore's law tapering? Why would all this affect the way we bank? Is something which is quite important for us to understand. As the regulatory framework evolves and more ways of banking is linked to the common man to use, there has to be a set of transformation which a bank has to undergo. Right? So there has to be a service digitalization. You cannot handle as many customers as you are handling with a call center. So you will put in a RPA, you will put in an RPA to handle your contracts, you will put in an RPA to handle the corporate plans. You will also have robos advising the wealth management stage. And you will have blockchain coming in, which again is around the efficiency of the banks, how they're going to end-to-end transact. And blockchain, believe it or not, while everybody talks about it, the bitcoins of the world, so on and so forth, it's really not about movement of money. It's about completion of transaction as we go forward. Today, we are working with one of the leading manufacturing industry. When they're buying thousands of raw materials in a drums, which is a chemical, a banker will survive on how good his core infrastructure is and how efficiently he's going to catch one of the surrounding changing areas and he's going to reward his customer. Today, as an individual, I want the bank to find me and reward me. I am not waiting to go and tell my bank, listen, I'm a good customer. I want the bank to explore that I am a good customer, come and give me a product which I can use. So find me and reward me is going to be a big place where artificial intelligence is going to play a role. Peer-to-peer lending is not very far away. It is just around the corner. People have created thousands of apps around it. It's just that regulators have not allowed it in India yet, but it's a big thing in Australia. Right? Peer-to-peer lending is going to change the way the bankers are going to look at it. Can banks participate in peer-to-peer lending? Can you bank through social apps? How much of participation a bank can bring in with respect to the social apps? Can they become part of Facebooks and Googles and partner with them and ensure the revenue which they would have ideally taken off to somewhere else can be shared between the banks as well as with the companies. So, in terms of SMB, small and medium enterprises, I think one-stop shop is the future. Peer-to-peer corporate lending is also the future which we are talking about. Payments, of course, wearables and face recognition are the two most important technologies that are going to influence us. And when so many things are changing, what should you do with respect to it? You should keep data in the sector. You should look at being cloud enabled, but having a strong hybrid IT strategy in place, which is a mixture of cloud as well as on-premise. And you should be more and more edge-centric. Right? The more processing or the banking is going to happen around the edge. And how you can leverage this tool and put data in the middle is how is what going to decide the success factor for it. At Hewlett-Packard, we kind of have a story in place. I'll just quickly move on and come back here. So, if you look at it, how we as an organization look at the banking, you have got these technology platforms which are going to give you advanced data insights, which in turn is going to give a digital experience to your customers and will lead to a lot of innovation at your place. And each of this banking segment, whether it is capital market, insurance or all, infrastructure till the time you can deliver it is where HP plays and Hewlett-Packard has been playing. We also are very focused around the core. We constantly keep working with leading players like Infosys, TCS, FIS to benchmark our systems to ensure that your core is also at pace with what is happening around. We have a solid AML portfolio which we can use to set up ground up, whether it is security analytics or whether it is customer analytics. We already work with a couple of our banks for this. So, I kind of let you know that, not much of us know about Hewlett-Packard. We kind of drive 2 out of 3 transactions in the world. Anytime you swipe in a card, even in India or abroad, we kind of, running it. We power close to 3 trillion transactions across the world. And we are also ranked as one of the fintechs. So that's how we're running. So with that, I kind of wrap up where I am. This is my mail ID. You can reach out to me anytime you want to. And I thank governance now for giving us this opportunity, and I look forward to a good day of interaction with all of you. Thanks a lot.